Hi everyone, this is Julie Martinez Hayes here to introduce NOS 230 to you and explain what NOS 230 does and how it works. I'm addressing both the NOS 130 students who are about to finish, who have already registered for NOS 230, and also those who haven't, just to show them basically what they're missing. There are ways to add the course to your program. If your associate's degree does not include it, you have options for adding a certificate. I'll get to that. First, the course itself uses Cengage. Cengage MindTap is a different tool than UCertify. It has it's beefier when it comes to the labs. The biggest difference is that some of the labs are quite short and they are simulations. Let me show you a simulation here, chapter 2. Okay, these simulations might take 10 to 12, 15 minutes, much like your U-Certified labs. But the NOS 230 class, being a 200 level course, is going to be more difficult. It has more work involved. It's a mini-master much like Net 125, 126. More like 126 because it assumes you know everything from the previous class. Okay, so if it builds on the previous mini-master. So congratulations on surviving first a mini-master, but then there's going to be a mini-master at a higher level. So the trick with these labs is that these the live virtual machine labs are VMs. They're unlocked. They have no boundaries, no bumpers, no errors if you click on the wrong thing, but they're more in depth and they take about an hour each. If there's a delay, if you're working off a wireless connection, just depending on how your browser works and how much browser cache you have set, it could take longer. So adjust your browser cache, make sure it's about 2 gigs of space. It's a lot to do. The other thing I was about to show you. Advice for first-time mini-master people. Now that you've finished a mini-master and you might have a better idea of the time management involved, I'd appreciate any advice you would like your previous self to know. If you could write to yourself 8 weeks ago and give some advice, what would it be? I like to include that with my courses just so that students don't hear it from me, they hear it from you, and maybe they'll take it more seriously. I want to show you some sites that are involved with the course. First of all, selecting the course for Fall 230, there are 2 sections. Online has a couple more seats, and the seated class Tuesday mornings. It's a lot more fun to have it in person, to be honest, and it ends with a food truck. So many of us stay and hit the food truck when we're done with class. We also take frequent breaks so that we don't really do 4 hours of straight lecture. That would kill me. So it's not unbearable, even though the idea of a 4-hour class sounds horrible. It's more about what your schedule can do and whether you can manage your time well. So that's really what it's about, is the time management to get to a class at 8 in the morning, be rested, have a good night's sleep, have already read the material, and then we can get going. The online section does have a few seats left. Okay, once we get to this information, I want to show you the book that's involved. The bookstore oftentimes can be a little bit confusing, let's call it that. BK means ebook. This is the required portion. It's not just an ebook, it's an entire lab format. It's an online lab access. It includes a digital textbook. It is an actual book. Not just a section of blurbs. It also has some extra tools like the flashcards and actually games, crossword puzzles, some things to help you remember. The easiest way to get it, I'm surprised, the bookstore price is about the same as the publisher price. Usually there's a big difference, and we've been pushing them to stay closer to the real cost. the bookstore doesn't have to do anything. This is just a code. So with this code, you would have a digital book, digital access, and it's the minimum you need to complete the course. Because the labs are in here, you cannot get through the course without the labs. So you would have to buy this part. Okay, this part, MCSA Guide to Identify. It's actually Identity. Okay, this is actually MCSA Guide to Identity. Okay, this is your book. This is not, they don't sell the bound version in the bookstore. They don't even offer it because it's too expensive. I get one copy for free to last me forever. But this is a hole-punched loose leaf version. The benefit to that is that you can scribble all over it if you like to read with read paper with a pen. Sometimes it's just nice to get away from a screen. The other nice thing about a loose leaf binder is you can just take the chapter you want to work with at a time and not carry the entire book around. The binder, of course, is optional. If you have a spare binder at home, get used ones, borrowed ones, however you want to do it. Obviously, you can get this cheaper than the bookstore with us. The actual price of this digital component from the publisher is $120. So if we were to go to Cengage.com and go to their prices, they have an unlimited, which is unlimited. You want to be careful with the online platform. You're not just buying, you're not just buying a digital textbook, you're buying the entire platform. So if you were to go to the students part, Cengage Unlimited is designed for folks who have multiple Cengage-based classes, and you can pay the $120. It's $120 for basically a semester, and you can get all your Cengage material, all the MindTap material, anything Cengage produces for that same price. The other option is to buy the problem with this e-textbook, it does not include MindTap. MindTap is our lab system, so we need that option. So $120 is the best you can get at this point. There is an option, it's harder to find on their website, but I've seen it around for $100. It does not enable you to take multiple Cengage-based courses. It's just one class for $100 for 4 months. Okay, so if you need to pinch pennies, saving the $20 there, and if you don't have a webcam, that $20 difference is better spent on a webcam for, especially for the online students, but really all of us in this environment with a lot of online communication, with Teams-based classes or lectures, you need a webcam, and it's nice to have one that you can unplug and pull away. That's how I do my courses. Yes, there is one on the laptop. I keep that disabled. Then I have the USB one for videos, for lectures, for meeting students on team. And when online students take their quizzes and their final exams, their Blackboard exams, they have to have a webcam for those final exams. So just keep that in mind. $20 USB webcam is all you need. All right, that's so much for the books. The paper loose leaf, optional and expensive at $70. The digital, they had that used loose leaf for $70. That's crazy. And then new loose leaf for $96. You might be able to look on Amazon used and find this. What you're looking for is exam 70-742. That's 70-742, a book by Greg Tomshow. Where is he here? Yes, Greg Tomshow. And MCSA Guide to Identity with Windows Server 2016. Our 2000 course for 2019 will roll out next fall. All right, that's about it. I wanted to show you these labs. These labs are actually quite interesting once you get into them. They're beefy, they have more detail. I'm going to just open up one let's just open up. To open these labs, I highly recommend you work on them with a cabled network connection, not over Wi-Fi, and 2 monitors if you have them. Even, I will like to start again. Keep report. See, it knows that I have completed this assessment before this lab, and it wants to know if it wants to wipe out my previous submission or keep it and just keep going. So it gives you some options. It doesn't always save exactly where you left off. So if you have a half configured server, it will not remember all the settings that you did. You can see here we've got 4 servers and 2 clients. Oftentimes we have to start with a domain controller that's built into the name, DC01. We've got some member servers, which is domain member 01 and 02. And then we'll have a standalone server that's not on the domain, SA01. These servers have some software already running on them. They might have Hyper-V installed. The biggest problem with this live VM labs is the default settings. You see how this domain controller, as it was done booting, popped out into a separate window altogether, and we have its own window. I can manipulate it, go to full screen, or just wait, it's going to try to reconnect. Or I can actually move it entirely over to a different menu if I want, a different monitor. I knew it was an M word. If your device does not connect, it gives you 8 steps of things to try, so do not panic if it cannot connect. This is not a direct connection, it is a remote session. So sometimes it can't connect, but if you switch to the console, and you'll get the login screen, you can see it saying updating. You'll see some other option, and you can just toggle back and forth. Usually all you would need to do is hit the reconnect button. There we go. You got there. This is a wide open server. You have access to all the tools. You can beat it up. You can use all the hacking tools at your disposal to try to beat this up. It resets back to square one. You cannot destroy it. You can only just restart the lab from scratch. Okay. The fact that this server popped out into its own screen, let me minimize it for a second, is all based in these settings. These settings mess up a lot of students. So my biggest complaint about the Cengage course is that the live VM labs are difficult because people think they have a tiny little screen to work with. Yes, you can make this a bigger screen and it can adjust the size, but if you have 2 monitors, and even if you don't, you can have Alt-Tab and get through the different screens. So I can Alt-Tab to get back to my domain controller and Alt-Tab back. But in these settings, again, this little gear, device pop-ups full screen. Do you want it full menu or not? So you have a bunch of options here that are not the default that will make your life easier, much easier. There's a clock here. If you get low, if you go take a snack, get a snack break, add time. Okay. The other thing I wanted to show you is how to take this course if it's not in your program. Because quite a few of our programs have had to add Python based on the recommendations of the employers, the people that give you work-based learning, and they're on our advisory committees of what they want to hire and what they need to hire. They say you must have Python, you must have some PowerShell experience, but they also want you to have server experience. So quite a few courses have had to make a choice between Python and NOS 230. Here's how you can still take NOS 230 and have your financial aid or veterans benefits cover it. If you go to IT, and this is just it.waketech.edu, this goes to our division, the Division of Information Technology. Okay, scroll down to the programs. It'll be under Cloud. That's actually my department, my section. Under Cloud, you'll have degrees and pathways. And this is the winner. You get certificates. Now, if you have an interest in any other program that is different than your degree program. For example, the security folks might get a certificate in Windows administration or Linux administration, but they also want a certificate in networking. Go to the program on it.waketech.edu, hit degrees and pathways, and then look at the certificates. So we have a bunch of different. We have 2 Linux and 2 basically Windows based. So global Windows security, or if you just want the stamp of approval that you know Windows Server, it would be a handful of courses. The program planning guide. Do they actually bother? No, they don't display it anymore. You have to one more click to get to the program planning guide. And it lists the courses. So you would have NOS 130, NOS 230. Now granted, NOS 130 has the prereq of NOS 110, but we're assuming, we assume you already have this. This is a certificate that's going beyond your degree program. So NOS 130, 230, and these are 2 virtualization classes. So you might want to prove to future employers that yes, you have a major in networking or major in cybersecurity, but you know that virtualization and Windows administration is actually in high demand. Go to Indeed.com and look for Windows System Administrator or Windows Server Administrator and look at the number of jobs and the salaries. They are in quite high demand. So 4 classes, some of which you might have already taken, and you get an extra piece of paper. Now how you would do this is email your instructor saying, please add the program Microsoft Certified IT Professional, and you give them this code, C25590MS. You can go to the registrar to add it. As faculty advisors, we can do the paperwork, add the form. We need your email requesting it, and we can send it off and it gets added to your program. That way, these courses are now required for you, and you can talk to financial aid or whoever provides your aid to make sure they are covered by your finances. Okay. The trick really is that on its own, financial aid will not cover it, but if it is in addition to a degree, they usually do. I don't know that that's changed. That's not my specialty. You've got to talk to financial aid to be sure. Okay. So many of these, the IT professional, the Windows security professional, same thing. It's courses largely that you might have already taken. Go to the program planning guide and find out what exactly is in the program. Come on. Here we go. Okay, so it includes a security class plus the others. NOS 130, 230, the virtualization classes, and basically if you took both certificates, your difference would be a security class in a nutshell. Okay, so look at certificates in addition to your degree, whether it's for NOS 230 or for something else. The certificates really do give you marketability without a whole lot of extra work on your part. 1 or 2 extra classes. They win. All right, the course is also an 8-week course. It is busy. There are a couple of weeks that cover 2 chapters. The chapters are a little bit bigger. The chapters are about 60 pages, so with NOS 130, you had 60 pages for the whole course. With this one, you're looking at 30 to 40 on most chapters, but a couple of chapters are going to be a little bit bigger. Okay, they're in-depth. They need rereading. My A students tend to read them 3 times, minimum twice, to get these grades. Okay. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. I had content. The other thing I wanted to show you actually was VitalSource. That's the one thing I didn't show. Another digital textbook option, if you have digital textbooks for this class or for any other class, is VitalSource, vitalsource.com. So you can open this book, figure out it remembers where you left off, you can highlight in it, you can browse to it, straight to things. If you're searching for a term you cannot figure out for the life of you, it does have search capability. Password, what are all the password settings? So you could go to the password section for a password security object, password settings object, which sets basically a policy for passwords. Okay. Vital Source is a good tool. I wanted to pull up, and I don't seem to have it with me, the program plan for the entire course. I can share that. You can email me, please, and I can text it to you. I will be sending it to all of my students, my NOS 130 students, and anyone who has registered for my NOS 230. If you have not yet registered and you want to see the pace of things, see how the work breaks out, email me at jkmartinezhayes@waketech.edu. I can send you some documents that clarify the course. In fact, I might be able to pull them up on my other screen. Syllabus. Right, the syllabus itself is going to be a fairly boring document. It's going to list the basic topics and explain the minimum requirements. This is actually more like a contract of what the instructor is required to cover. Yes, it does cover our grading, it covers the books. What's more interesting to me, I think, is the breakdown of how much work and what assignments are covered at what time. And that would be our weekly schedule. I know, my dog's yawning at me. Fall 21. Oh, it's not here. I didn't load it up to the cloud yet, but I can pull up the last one. There. So your first week will have some introductions and some basic who are you and why are you here. We get started, get your labs situated. It really helps if you have downloaded the ISOs. They are not required for this course, but if you are intending to do this for a living, you want to make sure you have VMs to tinker on after this class. You might want to set up a mirrored test network so you can do things at home and practice when the course is over. This week, that second week, we have a double week. It's busy, that one, and actually week 7 is quite busy. There are several labs in there. Through the midterms, midterm is going to be before your break. We have the midterm before the withdraw deadline, so that you can see how you're doing. That's always a plan of mine, is to give you a chance to get through the midterm before the withdraw deadline. Okay, there is no midterm skills. There are lots of skills in your labs that you practice, but there is no midterm skills. There is the final skills exam that incorporates most of the labs, especially the very basic skills we have to do on a daily basis or a weekly basis. Okay, I hope this covers everything. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.